tell you, I'm not a foodie, but this is something, I don't know, I'm kind of hooked on. So yeah, chola bhaturas is actually a very Delhi thing. It's a North Indian thing, actually. Yeah, so it's very popular. It's as popular as chicken curry and butter chicken and naan. So yeah, it's something I always have whenever I get a chance. It's a common man's food of North India. It's very spicy. It might be too spicy for you, but it's like a basic food that people have in Delhi.
This is
yeah, please let me serve you.
Oh, thank you so much, Shah Rukh. I can't wait to try it. That looks wonderful. Thank you.
So this is the chola, and of course this is potato.
Wonderful. Thank you.
And this is...
Thank you so much.
Onion is very specific to it, so you have to have onion. Yeah.
Okay.
You can't kiss nobody after this.
No,
It's either food or love. So. But the right way to eat it is...
Delicious.
Oh, and for television, we'll assume we've washed our hands. It's all clean.
It's all clean.
Yeah, we sterilized it. So you mix it inside,
okay,
and then have it.
Thank you. Namaste and welcome to Trailblazers. I'm Tanya Brai in India's capital city, and my guide for this episode is a man often described as the biggest movie star on the planet. He is Shah Rukh Khan, and this is New Delhi. He's the king of Bollywood, with an extraordinary career that's seen him star in over 80 movies. He's won multiple awards for both acting and philanthropy, and his success has seen him branch out as a businessman. He runs his production company Red Chillies Entertainment with his wife Gauri, and he even co-owns a cricket team, the Kolkata Knight Riders. His acting career may have taken him to Mumbai, but Shah Rukh's heart and spirit clearly remain right here in his birth city, Delhi. It's the capital of India, and a trip here is to journey into history. Delhi is thousands of years old and has been the seat of power for many ruling empires, kingdoms and sultanates. Now it's a bustling metropolis of 25 million plus people and pulsates with life 24 hours a day. Visitors can enjoy busy back streets and bazaars or take time out to do yoga in one of the city's many green parks. As you would expect, there are many historical gems to explore, from the Red Fort built in 1639 by the Mughal Emperor Shah Jahan to the religious Qutb Minar, the world's tallest brick minaret. Shah Rukh, when you go to Delhi, to your hometown, what is it like for you when you go back?
Everybody thinks of me as their brother and son. And, nobody treats me like a star. So if I'm walking on the roads or the airport, on the streets, they're like, Shah Rukh, all good? Huh? He's from here. It's like that. Hey! And they all scream out and shout. I mean, in Mumbai also, they love me a lot and they do the same. But there is a little difference in the way people, they put their arms around me. And if my security stops someone, they say, you can't. Abey, come on, you're from Delhi. He's ours. Come here. And they are extreme. Delhiites are a little robust and outgoing and very cheerful people. It's great. It's really nice to get back home whenever I do.
And on this trip home, Shah Rukh took me to his former school, St. Columba's, where the faculty and students gathered to greet its most high-profile alumnus. Shah Rukh, you come back here as Delhi's most famous son. How does that feel now when you come back to the school?
It's a strange profession that I'm in, or it's an amazingly strange life that I've led, that I can't see myself from the outside anymore. I don't know how to stand outside myself and say, okay, I was this person here and now I've become this person. For me, I'm still the same person. So I think there was a time when somewhere, when I was in 11th, 12th, and my parents passed away, I was 15 and then just passing out of school, I think a downhill run started. Not in a bad way, but in terms of speed. And when you're running, then you're not looking at what's happening. I think my downhill run is still continuing. So I don't know how to stop and check out and see, oh, I was this, or I was here, and this is the school. I get nostalgic.
Shah Rukh, do you remember this classroom?
Yeah. I remember everything about this year. This is 12. And I was doing electronics. And Tanya, I've always wanted to do this to get somebody else in a student seat and meet each
Okay,
class.
right, so you're the teacher.
Yeah.
I promise I will concentrate.
Okay, I'm role-playing my fantasy out.
Sir, I have a question.
I have more questions than you and no answers in life. So where do I sit? Should I sit here?
Yes, wonderful.
Is that good?
That's fantastic.
I feel.
The teacher, Shah Rukh, when you were sitting here as a student, could you ever have imagined the type of success that you have?
Not at all, Tanya. I like to tell people, especially my kids, that let the future course be taken, controlled by the future itself, because that's what happened to me. I had no inkling that I'd be a film actor. I don't even think that I was so dedicated to that I wanted to be an actor. I'd done a bit of theatre. I had done a bit of theatre in Delhi. I was doing it in school. But it wasn't something that you did. And I was a science student. You know, I was doing electronics. I wanted to be a computer engineer maybe, or an engineer otherwise, mechanical engineer. And I've been here since I was, 5? From 5 to the age of 18, I was here. So I spent like half my lifetime here. And, you know, and you were smaller, and it's such a beautiful school. So it's a matter of pride to have been here.
And for your parents, it wasn't easy for them to send you here in terms of the fees. How much do you appreciate that?
I think it's just important for parents to give great education to their children. So my sister and me, we both know. She was also in a very good school. Our parents could ill afford sending us to the schools. And I know this for a fact that my mom and dad worked their lives out just to make sure that they could afford to, because I've heard conversations when we were young that, you know, should we take the kids out of these schools and, you know, save some money? And my mom would say, no, come what may, they will study in these schools. And I realized the importance of that education. I think that's the best thing parents can give their children here.
And when you see the students today, when you were talking to them, how did you feel?
Well, they're very sweet. You know, 30 years later, kids who were not even born or conceived or thought of love me so much. So it just makes you feel, oh my God, I better start doing and behaving better and keep some high standards so they are not let down.
What advice would you give to them?
So I would tell the kids, there is an institution looking after you. And in whatever level, it's always going to be very protective. And then there's a real world, which doesn't protect anyone. It's a world where you have to survive. And I'm not painting a cynical picture of the world, but that one you have to survive. There's nobody going to protect you. So you are in a protective environment where people are giving you beyond education a lot of love and care. Take all of it. Take all of it, cherish it, and keep it in the nicest corner of your heart and in your head, and keep it close to your heart. So you can do the same to people that you meet in the world, and that's the best way to survive. The best way to survive is not to fight the world. The best way to survive is to be able to take care of the world.
Thank you very much, teacher, for my lesson today.
And I'm giving you some extra work.
Oh.
Detention, you stay here.
Still ahead, a trip down memory lane. Shah Rukh takes us to his childhood home.
It's completely changed my house, by the way. It didn't look like so varied. You know, there's an old part of Delhi, there's a new part of Delhi. There's so much history there, extreme amount of culture. And also, you know, there's strangely, Delhi and Mumbai are different towns. In Delhi, they are very hospitable in terms of they want you to eat and they want you to sing with them. And even if it takes a little more time, you know, nobody's cut-to-cut business. So even if you go for a business meeting, you know, there's this whole, listen, gotta eat first. You know, it's very hospitable and very, it's a North Indian culture. Delhi is about actually, you know, just being relaxed. So if people visit Delhi, I'd like them to see the monuments for sure. There's Qutub Minar to Jama Masjid to Humayun's tomb. There's amazing stuff, and it's very beautifully placed. Then, of course, what all the English left back, you know, the President House, the India Gate, you know, all the buildings they've made.
And what better way to explore Delhi than to have Shah Rukh take me to the places that mean the most to him? Of course, being one of the most famous faces on the planet meant it was never going to be a simple affair, and we ended up having to have a security detail joining us on our journey.
Shah Rukh, thank you, and I know you're going to take me to your childhood home, and I believe in a Jeep that you used to drive around, something like this.
It used to be like this, not so fancy. This one's much better.
Off we go. So how does it feel driving the Gypsy again?
I'm a little out of practice with the manual gears, but but it's nice. It's really good, yeah. It was actually the family car, but I'm really glad that I'm driving one. Yeah. It used to be exactly the same, more or less. The stuff was the same, yeah.
Gosh. And you had some music as well?
I had a Casio system here. That time to get a Casio, I think it was called a Casio. I think, yeah. That was the big thing to do, with big speakers and self-control by Laura Branigan, playing loudly when you danced and all. And I'd show you something. If I don't know if these guys will take. So my father was a freedom fighter, one of the youngest ones for India.
Gosh.
And so one of the things the government did is sanction you a little shop. So he used to sell tea around the corner.
Really?
Yeah. The next road, down the road, there was a hospital, the Wellington Hospital here.
Yeah.
And then behind the Wellington Hospital, it's called a kiosk, small little shop where he used to make tea himself and sell it.
That's amazing.
So after school, I used to walk across some days. Those were on Friday. And go down to his shop and hang there and sell tea with him.
And did you sell the tea?
Yeah. We all had to work.
Very sadly, Shah Rukh, you lost him when you were 14, so it was very, very young.
Yeah.
How did that affect you, do you think, for your life?
You know, Dani, all of my life from that time onwards has been very sudden and extremely full of upheavals and ups and downs.
Yes.
And so I think one of the few things that happened to me, having spent a lot of time with my dad, because we used to walk around the streets, come to his shop, just chat. I think the one thing he made me realize very early on is that if I can just laugh at everything, so even now when I look back upon it, I don't have a sad story to tell. So the saddest of stories are still the funniest, because that's how I look at it. And I think that helped me. So when he suddenly passed away, obviously you're extremely sad. And I think I was too young to even realize the enormity of death. Especially, and see, now it doesn't sound, 14 doesn't sound young, so young, but, during the 70s and 80s, more innocent times,
Yes.
14 was really young, So, I think I didn't even come to grips with what happened, and life moved on, and then before you knew it, your mother was on deathbed, and then before I knew it, I was suddenly thrown into mega stardom. I was in Mumbai acting, and I was a huge star. So I think things happen so fast that I've not had a moment to even reflect back, think about it, feel for it, or even actually have the time to say, you know what, life has been unkind. So my learning from this experience of my parents' death is that if you can keep yourself busy, the unkindness of life, even if it happens to you, will not affect you too much. This was the way back from school to my first house where I was born.
It's a beautiful city, Delhi, Shah Rukh.
It's the most beautiful city in the world. And especially it's so green and so wide, compared to other cities. Like Mumbai is beautiful, but it's very straight and narrow. Delhi's always been, and it was designed circular. So you can't really get lost in Delhi. If you get lost, you just have to keep going around in circle, you come back to the same place. So now, I'd be honest, I don't remember last when I drove maybe my kids at night, late night, to show them my other house.
Yes.
But this must be the first time I'm driving in Delhi after 26 years.
Wow.
So for me, this is, and I know I may not know some of the roads exactly because a lot of new things have come about.
Yes.
But to be honest, I still feel I know the city. Like I'm feeling, I'm nearly as lost as all of you. But I'm feeling very confident that I'm kind of better lost than you're lost. For me, it's completely changed my house by the way. It didn't look like this at all.
Wow. Really?
Yeah, it was a small little place with only first floor. This has gone on to the second floor.
Gosh.
And I used to sleep out here in the... I've done plays out in the veranda.
Really?
But at that time, it seemed like a huge veranda.
Yeah.
So it's seeming a little small.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So this is where it all started.
Yeah, this is where I lived, but it didn't look like this at all. Actually, yeah. I would like to go and say hi to them.
Yeah, wonderful.
I think there's a song which is which is a little sad, but there's a song which I started my book with.
Yes.
Okay. When you finally come knocking, there's nobody home. So it's just like that. Okay. So this is it.
Yes.
Yeah, at least I was here. Bye-bye.
Shah Rukh, how do you feel when you come back to this area?
To be honest, I'll tell you, I don't recognize it anymore because the houses have become really tight, closer
Yes.
and bigger. They were little, in Delhi it's called koti. Koti means a small bungalow. So they were just small bungalows. They were not so high. So it does seem most unlike what I lived in. But I know this road very well. This I hadn't seen for years actually, to be honest. Thank you.
Oh no, thank you for showing me, Shah Rukh.
We'll have more from Delhi and Shah Rukh Khan when we return.
How do you cope with this level of fame? Because everybody wants to see you.
I'm, people know me and they think of me as they own me and they know me very well. Now it's been so many years, I'm part and parcel of their lives.
Philanthropist Shah Rukh Khan.
This is my first time in this beautiful city. Shah Rukh, what are some of the feelings you get though when you first come back to Delhi?
I think there's a strange sense of ownership. So, I've been all around the world and I travel and I've been living in Mumbai and Mumbai is my city, has brought me up and my children are from Mumbai and all that said, when I come here, I just feel I belong here and this belongs to me. This is mine. So I don't know why I feel if I got down here, they would remember me from when I was 14 and walking down these streets. They won't though. They'll remember me now as me, I guess. But I'm like, they know me as the kid who used to walk around here. And because these people must have come after me, all these shops, I feel I kind of own them. So I'm like, listen guys, this is my area and good you put up a shop. So I feel like the boss when I come to Delhi.
They're also proud of you, Shah Rukh, and you have that feeling when you meet everyone here.
I get amazed. One would imagine they'd be proud of the work, etc. But I think there's a lot of love. When I meet people here, so when fans meet me wherever, they'll have an intention of being nice or saying good things. But here everybody is like more, and they talk to me like, we used to be together, right? Though I haven't met them ever, See, now they'll just keep saying things like as if they know that we are part of each other, remember? We used to hang here. Acha ho gaya ji. Badhiya, thank you, dhyan naal.
How do you cope with this level of fame? Because everybody wants to see you.
I don't understand it because I'm like, people know me and they think of me as they own me and they know me very well. I've been working for 30 years, so people have grown up watching me. So I don't find it awkward. I found it strange initially that people like me so much. And why would they like me so much? But they like me like their own. So now it's been so many years, I'm part and parcel of their lives. So nobody has to take permission from me. Nobody has to be anything with me. They'll be like, he's telling me, come on man, just bro, take a few pictures with my kids now. So and easy and love. I've never been to this part of town. I never imagined I'd be driving a car. I would just stand here. There was a sweet shop here.
Yes.
Very famous sweet shop. So I would come down to buy chola bhatura for my parents here sometimes.
Is chola bhatura, is that your favorite
It's
food?
my favorite food, yeah. I love it. So in the morning also, before the interview, that's the only thing I eat in Delhi when I come.
Are there any favorite restaurants you have here?
You know, when I was here, there used to be, or this still is actually, what was very popular here was there was a place called P or whatever, and it's very popular. And I think they have branches of Kareem's also. So those two places with parents, when you were trying to date a girl, you went to Nirula's Open. When your parents took you out, you went to Moti Mahal and Kareem's.
And I visited Bukhara here.
That I
in the-
couldn't afford ever. It was very expensive. So we would just stand outside and smell the food being cooked inside. Yeah, it was very expensive. It's still, I guess, one of the most high-end restaurants. And they do Pathan food, very Peshawari food. So yeah, I've eaten there now. But when we were young, we could just kind of just cross it. Hope one day we'd come and eat it.
In his 3-decade career, Shah Rukh Khan has become a cultural icon around the world. He's received many international awards, such as France's Légion d'honneur, and in 2018 he was presented with a Crystal Award from the World Economic Forum for his work championing the rights of children and women in India.
From them I have learned how courage can catalyze victimhood into heroism, how solidarity rather than charity enables the human will to overcome, how equality is not a concept but a truth that encompasses all living beings, and how the service of others is not a choice anymore for any of us. It is a duty that all of us must fulfill in the name of humankind.
So you've been given a lot of awards, both for your philanthropy and of course for your acting. What is the most important one you think that you've been given so far?
I think the best one is still when the youngest one in my family, Abram, at the age of 5 or 4.5, started to say that, I'm going to be an actor like my dad. I think when he says that, to be able to, and I'll discount the fact that I'm a good father. I'll just say that it's nice that, even a little one who should just know you as a father, because I don't give them any other aspect of my life. When I'm at home, I don't even try to show them my movies or what I do at work. But a 5-year-old who's seen the hoardings, who's seen the people, initially a little scared as to why everybody runs to my father, and then realizing that perhaps it's a nice thing to be. And when you reach home and say, "So Abraham, what are you going to be?" "I want to be an actor." I think that's the best award. every few weeks I get it.
So thank you so much for showing me.
Thank you for coming down to Delhi. And next time round when I'm in your city, you take me around.
Of course.
Thank you.